Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudriyet. SrimadBhagvadGeeta Sadhaka Sanjeevani 11th chapter The Universal Form verses 15 to 31. Arjuna beholds the cosmic form and eulogizes it. Arjuna, overwhelmed with joy and wonder, and describing the sight which he saw in the Lord's cosmic form, makes the rapturous utterance, offering his praise to him in the next three verses. Verse 15. Arjuna uvacha pashyami devanstava devadehe सर्वांस्तथा भूतविशेषसङ्घान् ब्राह्मणाम् ईशं कमलासनस्थं ऋषिश्च सर्वान् उर्गांश्च देव्यान्. Arjuna said, O Lord, I see in your body all the gods and multitude of different beings. Brahma seated on his lotus seat, Shiva, all the sages and celestial serpents. Comment. Wherever Arjuna saw, he beheld only his cosmic form. At that time, Arjuna did not look at the Lord, who was acting as his chariot driver. So he beheld only his cosmic form. But the Lord revealed the entire universe in his one limb. And Sanjaya also beheld the Lord sitting as the chariot driver in the chariot as well as his cosmic form. Now a question arises, in which limb, according to Lord Krishna as well as Sanjaya, Arjuna beheld the cosmic form? The answer is that it is very difficult to mention a particular limb because millions of universes are held in a pore of his body. It means that he holds infinite universes in each of his limbs. Verse 16. Aneka bahudara vaktara netram pashyami tvam sarvatonanta rupam nantam na madhyam na punastvadim pashyami vishveshwara vishwarupa. O Lord of the universe, I behold you, infinite in forms on all sides, with numerous arms, bellies, faces and eyes. O universal form, I see neither your beginning nor middle nor end. Comment. The body of a human being is insentient, while its master, the soul, is sentient. But there is no such distinction in the cosmic form of the Lord. In the cosmic form, everything is sentient. The cosmic body, as was revealed to Arjuna, was infinite on all sides. Arjuna could know neither its beginning nor middle nor end because there was no limit of it. Arjuna first used the term end because he wanted to see the end of his body on all sides to know his stature. But when he was unable to see it, he wanted to see the middle and then the beginning, but it was of no avail. Verse 17. Kiritinam gadinam chakrinam cha tejo rashim sarvato diptimantam pashyami tvam durnirikshayam samantad diptan larka dyutim apramyam. I see you with diadem, club and discus, a mass of splendor shining all round, having a brilliance like that of a blazing fire and sun, dazzling and immeasurable on all sides. Comment. Arjuna could behold the four-armed Lord also in that cosmic form. The splendor and effulgence of the Lord was limitless and immeasurable on all sides, and no other splendor can stand comparison with it. Verse 18. Tvam aksharam paramam vedita vayam Tvam asya vishwasya param nidhanam Tvam avyaha shashvata dharma gupta Snatanastvam purusho matto me. You are the imperishable, the supreme being to be realized. You are the ultimate resort of this universe. You are the protector of the eternal dharma, duty and righteousness, and you are the eternal imperishable being. I deem. Comment. The The Lord is the imperishable supreme being who is attributeless and formless and who has been described in the scriptures as the absolute or Brahma and who is realized by the liberated souls. Arjuna says that the Lord is the ultimate resort or sport of the entire universe. At final annihilation, the entire universe merges in Him, and at the beginning of the new creation, it emanates again from Him. Thus, He is the final resort, abiding place of the entire universe. Arjuna says that when there is decline of righteousness and rise of unrighteousness, the Lord, by incarnating, destroys the evils and protects Sanatana Dharma, the Dharma that has existed since time immemorial and shall exist forever. Arjuna deems that the Lord is the eternal, imperishable being, the Almighty God who remains imperishable even when the entire universe perishes. After describing the wonderful cosmic form of the Lord, from the 15th verse to the 18th verse, Arjuna in the next two verses describes fierceness, terror, and power of the cosmic form. Verse 19. Anadi madhyantam ananta viryam ananta bahum shashi surya netram pashyami tvam diptahutasha vaktram swatejasa vishwam edam tapantam. I see you without beginning, middle, or end, infinite in power, of infinite arms, the sun and the moon being your eyes, the blazing fire, your mouth, scorching the universe with your radiance. Comment. Arjuna saw the Lord without beginning, middle, or end. That is, he had no limit. Arjuna wants to convey that the Lord's power, strength, glory, and energy are unlimited. The Lord is endowed with numberless arms. The sun and the moon, which illuminate the entire universe, are the Lord's eyes. Thus, the universe is illuminated by His light. The Lord's mouth is the blazing fire which receives the various articles offered when the religious sacrifice is performed. The Lord scorches the universe with His radiance. It means that the persons, things, and incidents, etc., that create the unfavorable and undesirable circumstances to torture beings and those who are affected by those circumstances are the fragments of the cosmic form of the Lord. Verse 20. ध्यावा पृथिव्योर इदम अंतरम ही व्याप्तम तवेकेन दिशश्च सर्वः दृष्ट्वाद्भुतं रूपम उग्रम तवेदम लोकात्रयं प्रव्याथितं महात्मन्. The space between heaven and earth and all the quarters are filled by you alone. Seeing this marvelous and terrible form of yours, O great soul, the three worlds feel greatly alarmed. Comment. Mahatman. By this address, Arjuna means to say that his self is the greatest of all. The entire space between heaven and earth is filled with the Lord. The Lord is all pervading. He pervades all the 10 quarters, east, west, north, south, east, north, northwest, west, south, southeast, upward, and downward. Now a doubt arises why the three worlds were greatly alarmed and trembling with fear. Did the beings of the three worlds also behold the cosmic form? And if they beheld, then how? The clarification is that Arjuna beheld those three worlds within the cosmic body of the Lord. Those three worlds were greatly alarmed and were trembling with fear after beholding the terrible beasts such as lions, tigers, snakes, as well as death in his cosmic body. A vital fact. In fact, the entire universe is a fragment of the cosmic form of the Lord. The transience and modifications that appear in the universe are nothing besides the sport of the Lord. The Lord, as well as the cosmic form, has his independent existence, while the universe has no independent existence of its own. Arjuna beheld the cosmic form of the Lord with the divine eye, while devotees behold this universe as the manifestation of the Lord. A voluptuary seeks pleasures in the universe, while a devotee who has nothing to do with mundane pleasures beholds it as his Lord's manifestations. As a child regards the same woman as its mother, a father as his daughter, a husband as his wife, and a lion as his prey. Similarly, the world appears true with human eyes, transitory with discriminating eyes, divine with emotional eyes, and a fragment of the cosmic form with divine eyes. In the next two verses, Arjuna describes the scene of heaven which he beheld in the Lord's cosmic form. Verse 21. Amihi tvam sura sangha vishanti केचिद् भीताः प्राञ्जल्यो गृह्णन्ति स्वस्तीत्युक्त्वा महर्षि सिद्धसङ्घा स्तुवन्ति त्वां स्तुतिभिः पुष्कलाभिः. Those hosts of gods are entering you, some in awe with palms joined are chanting your names and glories. Bands of great sages and siddhas, emancipated souls, pronounce, may it be well, and praise you with excellent hymns. Comment. When Arjuna went to heaven, he became familiar with the gods there. So Arjuna says these gods were entering the Lord's terrible form. All of the gods are born of him, remain established in him, and again merge in him. Hosts of gods were entering the Lord's terrible form. The remaining gods were terribly afraid of meeting the same fate. With joined palms, therefore, they began to utter the Lord's names, glories, and praises. Though the gods, being afraid of death, viewing the man-lion incarnation, were singing praises of the Lord, but to Arjuna it seemed that these gods, being terrified of the cosmic form, were praising the Lord in his cosmic form. The group of seven principal sages, the sages living in the abode of gods, and other great sages such as Sanka and Sanandana, etc., as well as the gods, were extolling the Lord by means of sublime hymns. Verse 22. रुद्रादित्या वस्वो ये च साध्या विश्वे अश्वे नौ मारुतश्च उष्मापहश्च गन्धर्वा यक्षासुरा सिद्धा संघा वीक्षन्ते त्वां विस्मितश्चैव सर्वे. The 11 Rudras, 12 Adityas, 8 Vasus, 12 Sadhyas, 10 Vishwadevas, 2 Ashwini Kumaras, 49 Marus means hosts of Gandharvas, Yakshas, Asuras and Siddhas. They are all gazing at you in amazement. Comment. Brief notes on 11 Rudras, 12 Adityas, 8 Vasus, 2 Ashwini Kumaras and 49 Marus have already been given in the explanation of the 6th verse of this chapter. The names of the 12 sadhyas are Mana, Anumanta, Prana, Nara, Yana, Chitti, Haya, Naya, Hansa, Narayana, Prabhava and Vibhu. The 10 Vishwadevas are Kratu, Daksha, Shrava, Satya, Kala, Kama, Dhuni, Kuruvan, Prabhavan and Rochamana. The 7 mains are Kavyavaha, Anala, Soma, Yama, Aryama, Agnishwata and Parishta. They are called Ushmapa because they eat hot food. The Gandharvas are said to be born of Kashyapa's 3 wives named Muni, Pradha and Arishta. They are expert in the art of different melodies and music. They are musicians of the heaven. The Yakshas are said to be born of Kashyapa's wife Khasa. The Asuras, demons, are the Daityas, Danvas and Rakshas, who are the sworn enemies of Devas, the gods. Kapila, etc. are known as Siddha. All these gods, means Gandharvas, Yakshas, were gazing at the Lord in amazement. All of them were limbs of the cosmic form of the Lord. Arjuna in the next 3 verses, while describing the terrible cosmic form of the Lord, explains its effect on the universe. Verse 23. Rupam mahat te bahu vaktra netram महाबाहो बहुरूपादं बहुदरं बहुदंष्ट्राकृलं दृष्ट्वा लोकाः प्रव्यथितास्तथाहम्. O mighty armed, seeing your immeasurable and dreadful form, with numerous mouths, eyes, arms, thighs, feet, bellies, and terrible fangs, the worlds are terror struck, and so am I. Comment. Arjuna had already described numerous arms, eyes, bellies, faces of the Lord's cosmic body, and also the terror in the three worlds after beholding them. Then why is he repeating it? There are several reasons for doing so. First, Arjuna beholds novelty and singularity in each phase of the cosmic form. Second, after having a vision of the Lord's cosmic form, Arjuna was so much confused and alarmed that he did not remember what he had already described, and so he repeated it. Third, first he spoke of the three worlds, feeling greatly alarmed after beholding the terrible form of the cosmic body. But here he says that he was also terrified at the sight of the Lord's terrible cosmic form. Fourth, when a man is overwhelmed with emotions of fear or joy or sorrow or surprise, he repeats a word or a phrase or a sentence several times. After seeing a cobra, a man being afraid of it cries, "A cobra, a cobra, a cobra." Similarly, a person left alone on an island may describe his loneliness by saying, "Alone, alone, all alone," and so on. Thus, Arjuna has repeated the words out of fear, joy, and surprise, etc. Arjuna admits this fact when he says, "Having seen your form which was never seen before, I feel delighted and my mind is distressed with fear." It means that there is no tautology. Verse 24. Nabhasprishyam diptam अनेकावर्णं व्यतानानं दीप्तविशालनेत्रं दृष्ट्वा हि त्वां प्रव्यथितान्तरात्मा धृतिं न विन्दामि शमं च विष्णो. When I see your form touching the sky, effulgent with many colors, with mouth wide open, with large shining eyes, my heart trembles with fear. I lose courage and find no peace. O Vishnu, comment. Here a question arises that Arjuna, besides being a valiant warrior of extraordinary caliber, was blessed with divine eye by the Lord. Yet he trembled with fear while beholding the Lord's cosmic form. But Sanjaya was not terror struck. Why? The answer is that saints say that Bhishma, Vidura, Sanjaya, and Kunti knew the Lord in reality, while Arjuna did not know him so much. Arjuna's delusion was not completely destroyed, so he trembled with fear. But Sanjaya knew the reality about the Lord, namely, he had delusion. So Sanjaya was not terror struck. It proves that the Lord and saints shower their grace even on the unqualified and undeserving persons. But the qualified and deserving persons know the reality about him in the same way as the mother loves her innocent child more than she loves the grown up son, while the grown up son knows her and her loving nature more than the innocent child. The Lord loved the simple and innocent cowherdesses, and cows more than he loved the liberated souls, though the latter knew his true self. Similarly, Sanjaya deserved to have a vision of the Lord's cosmic form, and so he could behold it without requesting the Lord, while the Lord himself had to arouse curiosity in Arjuna and reveal to him his cosmic form. Because Arjuna regarded the Lord as his friend, not as the Lord. So the Lord was more gracious to Arjuna, and it was by his grace that Arjuna's delusion was destroyed. It proves that the Lord by his grace destroys the delusion of his devotees. Verse 25. दंष्ट्राकृलानि च ते मुखानि दृष्ट्वैव कालानलासन्निभानि देशो न जाने न लाभे च शर्मा प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवासा. Seeing your mouth terrible with tusks, resembling the raging fire at the time of universal destruction, I know not the four quarters, nor do I find peace. Therefore, be kind to me, O Lord of the gods and abode of the universe. Comment. Beholding such a terrible form of the Lord, Arjuna could not know even the four quarters. The quarters are discerned with the help of sunrise and sunset, but the sun was shining as the Lord's eye situated within his cosmic form. Moreover, the splendor of the Lord was more than even the effulgence of 1,000 suns blazing forth all at once. So he knew not the four quarters and the directions. So being utterly amazed and confused, he lost happiness and peace. After beholding the terrible form of the Lord, being terror struck, Arjuna thought that the Lord was displeased and angry. So he prayed to him to be pleased with him and kind to him. Arjuna in the next two verses describes that the chief warriors were rushing headlong into the Lord's fearful mouths. Verses 26 and 27. Ami cha tvam dhritarashtrasya putraः सर्वे सेवावनी पाला संघेहा भीष्मो द्रोणः सूतपुत्रास्तथा साहसं दियरपि योधा मुख्ये वक्त्राणि ते त्वरमाण विशन्ति दंष्ट्रकरालानि भयानकानि केचिद् विलग्ना दशनान्तरेषु सन्दृश्यन्ते चूर्णितैरुत्तमाङ्गिः. All the sons of Dhritarashtra with hosts of kings of the earth, Bhishma, Drona, Karna with the chief warriors on our side as well are rushing headlong into your mouths, terrible with tusks and fearful to look at. Some are seen sticking in the gaps between the teeth with their heads crushed. Comment. Here a doubt arises how Arjuna saw the warriors rushing headlong into the mouth of the Lord's cosmic form when they were arrayed alive on the battlefield. The clarification is that the Lord asked Arjuna to behold whatever else he desired to see in his cosmic form. Moreover, Arjuna had a doubt whether they or their enemies would win. So Arjuna could foresee their own victory in the Lord's cosmic body. In the next verse, Arjuna describes those notable warriors who were striving for God realization and took up arms regarding it as their duty by giving an illustration of rivers. Verse 28. यथा नदीनां बहवोऽम्बुविगः समुद्रम् एवाभिमुखा द्रवन्ति तथा त्वामि नरालोकवीरा विशन्ति वक्त्राणि अभिविज्वलन्ति. As divine torrents of rivers rush towards the ocean, so do these warriors of the mortal world enter your blazing mouths. Comment. Just like the rivers, all the creatures rush towards the Lord to attain eternal bliss. But some of them, by identifying themselves with the perishable and unreal body, are engaged in worldly pleasures and prosperity, and thus by error admit their separate existence. But there are other valiant devotees who, taking no heed to pleasures and prosperity, march towards God in order to attain the goal of human life. Bhishma and Drona, etc., were such valiant warriors who were entering the Lord's mouths, which were blazing with the fire of knowledge, and thus they became fiery themselves by attaining oneness with Him. Arjuna in the next verse describes those warriors who, being engaged in worldly pleasures and prosperity, joined the war in order to gain praise and kingdom by giving the illustration of moths. Verse 29. यथा प्रदीप्तं ज्वलनं पतंगा विशन्ति नाशाय समृद्धा वेगः तथैव नाशाय विशन्ति लोकस्त्वापि वक्त्राणि समृद्धा वेगः. As moths rush headlong into the blazing fire for destruction, so do these people hurriedly speed into your mouths for their destruction. Comment. Worldly people generally hanker after worldly pleasures and prosperity, and they also think of them. Such type of warriors were Duryodhana, his co-warriors, and such other kings who were entering the Lord's blazing mouths for their destruction. That is, they were paving their way for 84 lakh forms of life and health. It means that generally people hanker after worldly pleasures, prosperity, praise, honor, and rest, etc. In order to gain them, they have to bear insult, dishonor, loss, worry, and internal burning sensation, etc. Yet they yearn for them. Having described the entry of the warriors into the Lord's mouth, Arjuna now in the next two verses describes the Lord's terrible form and the process of their destruction. Verse 30. Leli hayasya grasa manha समन्ताल्लोकान् समग्रान् वदनेर्ज्वलाद्भिः तेजोभिरापूर्य जगत्समग्रं भासास्तवोग्रः प्रतापन्ति विष्णु. Devouring all the worlds with your flaming mouth, you are licking them on all sides. Your fiery rays, filling the whole world with radiance, are burning it, O Vishnu. Having beheld the Lord's cosmic form in its most terrible phase, in which the warriors were rushing headlong for their destruction, Arjuna was terrified and also filled with curiosity to know who Sri Krishna really was and what he proposed to do. So he put the question. Verse 31. आख्या ही मे को भवान उग्र रूपो नमोस्तु ते देववर प्रसिद्धा विज्ञातुम इच्छामि भवन्तम् आद्यं नाहि प्रजानामि तव प्रवृत्तिम्. Tell me who you are, so fairest in form. I bow down to you. O Supreme Deity, be kind. I wish to know you, the primal one, in essence, for I know not your purpose. Comment. A question arises that the Lord's first incarnation was in the cosmic form, in the form of the universe, and here Arjuna beheld his cosmic form in a limb of his body. Are both of his forms the same or different? The answer is that it is only the Lord who knows the reality. Yet, after reflection, it seems that the universe was also within the cosmic form which Arjuna beheld. When it is said that the Lord pervades everywhere, it means that he pervades the infinite universes within and without the universe. All these universes are held in one of his limbs. Om Tat Sat. All glories to Sri Partha Sarthi, Lord Shri Krishna. All glories to Bhagavad Vani, Srimad Bhagavad Geeta. Sri Hari Arpanamastu.